Fate is truth working out in ignorance. Working out what? The destiny. Truth cannot work directly in the present condition, in the nature here. There is a conflict of forces, there is a play of forces, the individual soul, the cosmic nature, and the higher destiny. All of them work here simultaneously. But Narad tells to Ashwapati that fate is, what is fate after all? Particularly in the case of great souls like Savitri, fate is truth working out in ignorance. What has been decided, what has been fixed, encountering all the difficulties of nature here, of ignorance, of death, of suffering, it is fate who moves forward. In other words, here, fate becomes an instrument of truth. For us, for small minds, the present fate may look calamitous, but there is a greater objective behind his functioning. Narad has spoken of this world as a haunt of ignorance. This is a place which is a haunt of ignorance. This is a place which is a home of pain. There is a constant clash of forces, individual, collective, of the soul, of the higher destiny, constantly clashing against each other. But at the same time, when man accepted this condition, he accepted this condition with a joy. His soul from the transcendental realms saw a divine possibility in this mortal world, and therefore it plunged into this mortal creation. It is the joy of creation out of nothingness that sort of attracted the soul, and it has accepted these conditions. A huge descent began because of that attraction, a giant fall. It left all its glories behind, and it has come to this world of misery. It was safe in its eternity, but it has accepted the hazard of this mortal creation. But Narad, while he's explaining this condition of the earth here, why our souls have come here, Ashwapati has a question. He says, I thought a mighty power had come with my daughter. When she took birth, a mighty power had come along with her. What happened to that power? Where is it? Narada assures Ashwapati that yes, there is a greatness which resides in the heart of Savitri. It can transform herself. That greatness can transform herself. It can transform the world also. It can transform herself. It can transform everything all around. But she must cross the stones of suffering. She must cross the stones of suffering. It is a part of the kind of work she has to do. She must accept the human condition, its misery. Unless she accepts that, how can she remove human misery? She must, therefore, cross the stones of suffering. Yes, Savitri is a heaven's nectar cup. It holds heaven's wine. But she has also accepted the human condition. She must share human grief. Unless she shares human grief, that heaven's cup of nectar has no value. Savitri must accept that kind of a thing. Then only there is a possibility of her removing ignorance and pain. Human will must be made one with God's will. It is only then that a new change can take place, not until then. Savitri has formed her will. Human will must be made one with God's will. Mind of man must receive God's light. He must be driven by God's force. Man must be driven by God's force. His mind must receive God's light. His will must become one with the will of God. Then only there is a possibility of conquering the difficulties of this creation. It is decreed, it is destined, it is fixed. The fact is unalterable, indelible, that Satyavan must die. It is a great calamity. But when Savitri makes her will one with the will of God, she can surmount even this difficulty. It is that forming up of Savitri's will which then becomes an aspect of truth working through faith in ignorance, achieving its final result. Savitri makes her will one with the will of God. Then truth works through faith to achieve its objective. Faith is truth working out in ignorance. Working out in ignorance of that aspect is what we see. It is that aspect which we see in the necessity of the death of Satyavan. Satyavan must die because it is through that death it is possible to work out in ignorance the higher faith. Truth can work only through that, and therefore this is decided, he must die, and Savitri must form up her will, make that will one with the will of God. In order that that happens, Savitri must do yoga. In other words, Narada is actually setting Savitri on the path of yoga. Narada is initiating Savitri on the yoga for the conquest of death.